Hello guys and welcome back to Shaun's Japanese course. In the previous video we talked about, the Japanese writing system just, generally, but in this video we're gonna talk about the Hiragana and Katakana in more depth. So, let us begin. As I've said in the previous video, Hiragana and Katakana are actually both phonetic scripts, meaning that they are just like our own alphabet, right? Each individual character represents a certain sound. And as I've also mentioned, there are no free consonants because of the way that the Japanese speak, right? When they pronounce words, they focus more on the vowels rather than the consonants, and consonants just end up being more like seasonings on top of vowels, right? They're just there to give the vowels a different types of flavor, right? And of course, I said that, in addition to this, there is also this like little guy down here, the nasal consonant, right? However, what I haven't mentioned is what these sounds that, Japanese characters represent actually are. And, what are the sounds that are represented with these cones and these rows. So, the vowel sounds, right, represented by the cones are a, I, u, e, o. A, I, u, e, o. Okay? And, of course, the consonant sounds represented by the rows are k, s, t, n, h, m, y, r, v. K, s, t, n, h, m, y, r, v. Okay? And, of course, at the end here, we have this nasal consonant, n. It's kind of hard to pronounce him on its own because it's just a sound that you produce through your nose, right? Hence the nasal consonant, right? It's usually romanized with this n sound, but it's not an n, okay? And I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but the point is that it's just the nasal consonant, right? So, if you look at katakana, of course, as I said, the sounds are exactly the same, but what are these actual sounds? Well, I'm glad you asked. They are, as I've said, a, I, u, e, o. A, I, u, e, o. Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Sa, shi, su, se, so. Sa, shi, su, se, so. Now, of course, you may notice that this shi is actually different than the rest of the sounds in the s row, right? Because the other sounds have this s sound, and this is the only one that has this sh sound, right? But bear in mind that that's just a vocal change, right? It's just that when we combine the s with the e, right, in Japanese, it just turns into this sh, right? A soft sh, right? But a sh nonetheless, sort of like a, Strauss, right? A sh sound. Even though it's written with two characters like S and H, sh, it's still a sh sound, right? It's still a single sound, right? A soft sh, but a sh nonetheless, right? So, moving on, ta, chi, tsu, te, to. Ta, chi, tsu, te, to. Now, of course, once again, we have this chi and this tsu here that are different than the rest of their row, right? Now, of course, once again, it's just a purely vocal change, right? It's just, these characters represent the Japanese sounds at the end of the day, it's purely just a vocal change, right? It's nothing to, worry about. However, the important bit here is that, once again, this chi, right, represents this ch sound, right? It's a single sound, even though it's written with this ch, right, ch combination, right? It's just a single sound. It's a ch sound. A soft ch, like chair, for instance, but a ch nonetheless. Now, the important bit is that if you come from a country, right, or if you know a language that has this ch sound in it, right, this character, right, is actually somewhere between ch and ch, right? It's a soft ch, right, and it's moving on towards that ch sound, right? However, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is that, you see, people that have, this ch sound in their native language tend to produce this sound as ch, but it's not a ch, okay? It's a ch. It's more on the ch side of things. It's a soft ch, right? And it is moving towards this ch sound, right? But it's still a ch. It's not a ch, okay? And, of course, we have this ts sound. However, this ts sound is, once again, just a single sound. Ts, okay? Like, Zimmer, right? In German, meaning room, right? Or Spielzeug, meaning a toy, by the way. But ts, right? So, it's a soft ts, but a ts nonetheless. Again, ts. So, ta, chi, tsu, te, to. Okay, so moving on. Okay, na, ni, nu, ne, no. Na, ni, nu, ne, no. Ha, hi, hu, he, ho. ha, hi, hu, he, ho. Now, once again, bear in mind that there is this sort of like a vocal change here with this hu character. Now, you are trying to produce a h sound, but it just ends up sounding like a f, right? So, moving on. Ma, mi, mu, me, mo. Ma, mi, mu, me, mo. Ya, you, yo. And yes, this row only has 3 characters. So, ya, you, yo. Ya, you, yo. Excuse me. Ra, ri, ru, re, ro. Ra, ri, ru, re, ro. Now, bear in mind that this r sound is actually very soft. It's closer to an L sound in English, sort of like a l sound, right? But it is still a r, even though it's close to this l. So it's ra, ri, ru, re, ro. Okay? And of course, last but not least, wa and o. Okay? So the v in the last o is silent. Okay? So yeah. Those are all of the basic sounds, right? Now, bear in mind that even though they are represented by Roman characters here, Roman characters are actually not perfect at representing these sounds. For instance, this ts, right, as I've said, it's a ts sound, it's a single sound, but it's represented by these 2 letters. She, the same way, sh, ch, again, chi, chair, right? So as you can clearly see, they're really not, perfect at representing these sounds. And as a result, I would actually recommend you learn these characters as soon as possible. You learn these sounds. Think about it. When you learned the alphabet, when you were like, 5, 6 years old, you were not taught the alphabet based on some other type of writing system. You were just told, this character represents this sound. So you should really try to learn these characters by the sounds that they represent, not by these Roman letters that we use to, describe them. The reason behind it is that, later on, this can cause some confusion about pronunciation of certain characters, right? As I will get to in the next video. But the point is that you really should try and learn these characters as soon as possible, right? So I would recommend you learn Hiragana as soon as possible, right? Katakana you can learn later, a little bit later, right? You don't have to learn both alphabets, right? You just want to learn the sounds that they represent, right? So you can learn Hiragana, and you can later on learn Katakana by describing it purely through Hiragana, right? Without, going through this, Romaji thing, right? So yeah. Now, however, if you look at Katakana, as I've said, the characters are different, but the sounds that they represent are the same, so it's really no big deal. However, there's this guy, the nasal consonant. Yeah. So, as I've said, generally it's romanized with this n, okay? However, this character, it's not a n, okay? It is the nasal consonant. It is the sound that you produce, through your nose, right? Hence the nasal consonant, right? The reason why I mention this is that as foreigners, we tend to stress this strong n sound, right? When we see this character, but it's not a n, okay? Basically, it's just a sound you produce through your nose. Really, it's all there is, Just remember that it's not an N, okay? Just remember that, okay? Okay, so we went through the entire, basic sound table. However, you may have noticed that the word Hiragana has this G sound. But, there is no G sound to be seen here. So what's going on? Well, that's going to be the topic of the next video. And I hope I'll see you in that one. Bye!